First of all, she has she likes an essence of tomato sauce. I need to first know what he's doing to create that essence.
The essence is her dad mixes the entire pot of pasta.
I get it. Hold on. But all I picture is this man in the kitchen with a pasta bowl wafting in the...
Oh, I see. The essence. Hey guys, welcome to Woke and Pretty. I'm your girl Meera here with Min, and we're doing something
so
really
excited.
So fun today. Man, are you a fan of Reddit?
I'm a fan of listening to stories on podcasts about Reddit and where they give advice. This is what we're about to do. Okay, so beautiful thought on this. I haven't heard this story, so you're gonna see a live reaction.
Oh, I can't wait! I'm so excited. If you're watching me on YouTube, you'll see, because I'm not a Reddit person. I haven't signed up for it, but I'm always here for Am I the A-hole? Because we talked about this. BuzzFeed basically has a business because they are all up over on Reddit. But
and a couple of days ago, we talked about one of my girlfriends shared her story.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. And I loved it. So here's the thing. It's become so popular in the past X amount of years that Reddit actually does awards now for best comment, best story with food, best overall. Am I the a-hole? I'm going to kick it right off. I know.
This feels like very high school favorite athlete. Like, I love this.
I am so here for it because I can't wait for the 2023 ones. But I'm going to read you a story from 2022. And this one was, am I the a-hole? So I want to know, one, do you think this person's the a-hole? Two, your thoughts on the story. This one, best overall. Okay.
Okay.
Am I the a-hole for bringing my sister-in-law's wallet to the restaurant when she conveniently always forgets it? That's what the title is. Y'all must have heard this.
I think I have. I feel like I have, but go on.
So this chick, she's 28 years old. Her sister-in-law, who's 26, so about the same age, always comes to visit from out of town. She stayed with us instead of staying at a hotel and always wants to go to expensive restaurants. She always conveniently forgets her wallet or comes up with some excuse as to why she can't pay her fair share. She has implied that since I make more money than her, I should be the one to pay. No, not my husband should pay, but me specifically. I already have thoughts. I do make a fair amount of money, but not so much that I can treat someone every time they come into town. Nonetheless, in the past, I have just paid the bill and asked her to pay me back. She never has. It gets better. She had made a reservation at an extremely expensive restaurant last night. And before we left, I made it clear that I would not be paying the bill. Okay, boundaries. Okay. This is where I might be the asshole. And I'll admit I got this straight from an episode of 2.5 Men, which makes me happy. As we were leaving, her and my husband went to the car. I pretended I forgot something and went back inside. I found her wallet sitting right on top of her suitcase. I put it in my purse and we went to the restaurant. When we were done eating, I asked for separate bills. She said, no, we need one bill because she forgot her wallet again. I reached into my purse and said, this wallet? She was extremely furious. She said that I should not have touched or grabbed her wallet. Am I the a-hole for taking her wallet and bringing it to the restaurant?
Okay, so I think I have heard this story. And then she pays her portion of the bill, right? Is there a follow-up?
The follow-ups don't say if she did or didn't. The girl had her wallet, so she paid herself, yeah.
Okay, so I visit my sister pretty often. My sister and her husband are an upper middle class family out in BC. And when I visit my sister, I usually end up staying with them because, well, one, then I get to spend as much time as possible with my sister and her little man. And I do, when I am there, I do tend to over-treat them
oh, you pay for that.
Nice. I pay for that. I also use that term loosely because, one, they live in a small town where it's not like there's 5-star Michelin star restaurants by any means. They are. Right. Okay, so if anybody knows Canada, Vancouver is a very international city. It's got Michelin star restaurants. They are not in Vancouver. They are all in the outskirts. Anyways, they don't have 5-star Michelin restaurants, but there is an amazing sushi place that I happen to love close to where she is, where whenever I go out there, I make it a point to take my sister to said sushi place. So I will fit the bill because it's one, she's my baby sister. And two, I feel like I never see her so often. And I'm not the kind of person who goes out to eat very often. So I usually, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it with amazing company. My sister has never asked me to fit the bill. And she will always sometimes feel very bad that I've had to pick up this ginormous bill by myself. So one, is this, no, you're not. You set a boundary.
No, this is her sister-in-law though. So
What?
your ex-husband, no, sister-in-law girl. Let me stop you right there because when you're talking, I always treat my sisters. My sister comes to visit me. I treat her and her entire family of the 5 of them. When I go there, I'll take them out to nice restaurants.
No,
You were married. You were married. Your sister-in-law comes to your house every time.
Talk to your brother.
Oh, it's different now, huh? Okay, here's my question for the story.
Talk to your brother.
What did your husband say about this whole thing? What's your husband saying? How come he's not in this? He doesn't say anything? How come he doesn't say, oh, I'll just pay for her? And he's okay with letting you pay for her? And what is happening here?
Yeah. And what?
Yeah, sister-in-law girl, sister-in-law.
Okay, so hold on. I do have a brother. He's not married.
Let's backtrack.
I do have a brother. He's not married, but he did have a longtime girlfriend that we used to go. She used to come out to dinner with my brother, me, my kids, and my brother and I would split the bill. Or there was a couple of times I think I picked up the bill. And if my brother was with somebody,
so you didn't forget your wallet and just said, "Oh, you should pay for it." Not your brother
forgets their wallet,
but the girlfriend. But this is the story,
you know when
right?
I forget my wallet on a date. That's when I forget my wallet.
Oh, we're gonna do an episode on dating. Okay, don't worry. Don't you worry. We will do one. But I'm saying she can, it's not like once or twice or 3 times, it's all the time. But the thing in this story that gets me is that the sister-in-law makes the reservations and it's always at expensive places thinking that this person's going to foot the bill. Why you got an issue with your sister-in-law that makes more money than you, that you think she has to pay for all of you? What the hell is that? Just because I make more money than you, I'm not paying for you. Insert sister-in-law's name here. I do pay for I insist that my husband pays for his sisters when they visit and his mom, but he never even thinks to do that. He's, oh yeah, of course. They don't ever pay for their own mom. But I'm like, they came here to see us. We should pay for them because they spent money to come here and we can afford it. Now, if it was like, if his sister said to me, you make more money, so you need to pay the bill. First of all, one, it's not your call. Second of all, it might happen once, but it ain't happening twice, whatever. I don't know, honey. No. I will pay for my younger sister because that's my younger sister.
I'm the same.
My older sister, I'll pay for her because I know she would pay for me if she had the means. Nah. So is this girl the a-hole for seeing her wallet inside and bringing it in her purse and not saying anything? That's sleazy. That's sneaky. But guess what? You being sneaky too, honey. So she not the a-hole. But here's the edits on this. She was voted not the a-hole. And one of her edits said her sister-in-law just called her because she saw the post and she yelled at her for bad-mouthing her on the internet. Honestly, I don't care. Hopefully, if she's reading these comments, it's a wake-up call for her.
I always laugh a little bit when people are like, I can't believe nobody's calling you out. Aren't they anonymous posts?
Yeah, but it's very specific. So I guess maybe she figured it was her. Then you know what? Self-reflect, honey. Self-reflect.
I'm good. Honestly, you did nothing wrong. I would have done the same. If the role was reversed and it was my brother and I would have a long talk, being like,
that's the thing that really gets me in here.
Not my problem.
Where's your husband, honey? Where's her brother? Why is this not a conversation with your brother or your husband? Why is he just the innocent party? Why are men always not at fault, but the women are at each other?
Even this is the other thing. Even when I take my brother, and even because my brother-in-law can't always join us, he works shift work. But even when I take my sister out and with my nephew, and if my brother-in-law joins us, he doesn't even like it when I fit the bill for it because you're always doing really nice stuff for us. And he's like, I don't want you to feel like we're taking advantage. I'm like, I'm here. Sometimes after a ride, I'm like, no offense, Rich, I'm not really here for you. I'm here to see my baby sister, my little nephew.
But he still has that conscience. That's a great thing.
Yeah. He definitely has that conscience of being like, just so you know, we would spend time with you regardless of whether, and if you want to go out to these nice restaurants, we don't mind paying for ourselves. And I get it. Again, I don't do those things very often. And when I do them, because my sister and I are big foodies, right? So like for me.
But you know that they may not have been going there unless you were there. So you were the cause for that event. I get that.
Exactly.
I get it.
But never once would he be like, you're fitting this bill, like you're high. You are hot. I don't know what boat you flew in on. What? No. So no, her husband should be saying something.
I
It's
agree.
his sister,
And secondly,
his family.
but he at least should be supporting his wife in this. And honestly, if she makes a thing at an expensive restaurant, sorry, we're not going to go there. We're going to go down to the diner. You're going to get diner food, honey. We ain't going to no nice, expensive restaurant.
Yeah.
And expensive is relative too. Just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean you want to eat at expensive places and to treat everybody. Honey, if I win the lotto, you ain't going to know. Okay? Everyone will not know. They will not know. Nope. You got to look my up online, because in New York, you have to, it's registered.
Oh, it's probably different down there, but there's different things that happen up here when you win the
Every
lotto.
state is different about that. If I ever won the lottery, first of all, I have to start playing. But if I ever won, let's just say, I ain't telling a soul about my husband. We got to figure out what we're going to do with our money and how we're going to place it and how we're going to do it, how we're going to help the family, if we're going to help them, in what way that we are not going to be hit up forever and ever in a day. Mm-hmm. I always think, I don't know. Have you ever thought about hitting the lotto? What do you think you would do with it?
Yeah.
What would you do for your family? That's the thing. Do you give people money? Do you buy them something? I think for me, I would probably pay off all their mortgage, and I would put college funds for their kids, my nieces, and that's it. Yeah, I'll do everything else. And I wouldn't even tell them about the college fund until they're about 18.
I don't even know if I would, at this point now, pay for their mortgages.
I would, because I would pay off their mortgage and be like, that's whatever your house costs. I don't care. I wouldn't tell them. It would just be like, I would do it and be like, that's my gift to you, because then you're literally saving over time and you always have a roof over your head. That's it.
I get what you're saying in regards to the mortgages. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't help them out, but I don't think it'd be a large, because the houses in Canada are so expensive. Like, they're, for a decent sized home, it's $1 million easily, depending on where you are.
Well, see, my family lives in Florida and their homes are like $300,000.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
New York, though, ain't nobody coming to pay my mortgage up here, because my house, honey, we talked about my house already, you know.
So I don't know if I would do the mortgage thing, but I would definitely, like, my nephew, my kids, they'd all have an ironclad trust fund that they wouldn't be able to touch without some form of indication of something. For instance, my nephew is pretty young. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I would put, let's say I won 50 million, I would put only $500,000 in my nephew, because he has so much time to build up to that money.
His equity, yeah.
So I wouldn't put a lot of money in. And even when he got to a certain age, he wouldn't be granted that money unless he was looking to buy a home, continue his education. There would be many stipulations for him to be granted X number of dollars.
Here's the thing, man.
And he wouldn't have full access to it at all for a long, like, he would probably
knowledge is power
to it for like years.
But knowledge is power. If your nephew knew about that, he might bank on that down the road. So this is why I would keep all this stuff a secret, honestly and truly.
And this is the other thing. I would probably keep it for a very big, for a secret for a really long. I think I would let my sister know that the money was available should he come to her and be like, I want to become a doctor, and they didn't have the money for it because education is very expensive. I think my sister would know, but it would definitely be, it would still even be like, he wouldn't have access to that money, or even maybe he'd know about it at 25, but then he wouldn't have access to that money until he was 50 something. Do you know what I mean? And you wouldn't even get full access to that money until you're like 65 or something. You're going to get small chunks of it over little bits of time, but you need to prove that you need, quote unquote, need that money. You're going to further your education. You want to buy a home. You want to buy a car, child, that's on you.
Maybe I wouldn't pay for their, maybe I wouldn't pay for their mortgages, because then I'd have to think about my in-laws too. And I don't know if I want to do all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's me and my husband's money, right? I don't know.
See, and this is that's the other thing. See, I don't have to think about in-laws, but then I do have to think about my sister's married. And listen, I love her husband, but now I pay off a mortgage that he has half equity on.
Yeah, but that's an investment in them as a family.
And my hope, and listen,
it could take the pressure off of them.
I definitely do. I think that
if their house is $1 million and they're paying like $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and you pay off that mortgage, they only have to worry about the taxes, and they can use that money for so much more for their family potentially.
I agree with you.
So that's how I see the mortgage.
I would definitely think twice, mostly because, and listen, maybe this is my divorce jaded mind, because I pay off that mortgage and he gets to run away with half, that I just paid off that should have been her money.
How about this, girl? You buy the house from them and then put it in her name.
Because
no, but it was still they're married. They're still
laws,
married.
Exactly. The laws are very different. She would still
Yeah.
have access.
Yeah.
Mhm. And listen, this is also not to say that
You buy their house and keep it under your name and your estate.
that's what I was thinking. But
No, but that would be a lot of
like
trust in them for you.
Also true. And like Rich is a pretty decent guy. Like a part of me feels if something were to happen and they were to separate, a part of me feels like Rich would be very fair to my sister in the sense of your sister paid for this, so I'm gonna give you a bigger chunk on the house.
You don't know.
But you don't know what, like,
you don't know the circumstances.
I've been
you don't know how
divorced.
people.
It gets ugly.
Yeah, you don't know.
So those are the things that I think about when I win the lottery. Would I pay off my sister's house? A part of me would love to pay off her house so that she doesn't have to worry about a mortgage anymore. But she's married, and those are the things that I think
But
about.
if you're winning $50 million, and she has $700,000 left in her house and you pay that off, that's a huge chunk of investment in them. But it wouldn't matter even if they divorced because she would still be getting half of that asset, which is more than she had at the beginning because she wouldn't have owed it. So it's like an investment in them and the kids and what they can do. This is how I see it. What they can do with their children if they choose to, and all the things that they maybe have wanted to do if they just need a little bit more money. That's how I see it. And whatever, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, okay, I did something for you. And it could have made your life better without you asking me for money. Because that's the fear that I always have. People keep constantly asking for money because they depend on you for it. And I've seen this happen in life where once they ask once, they can continue to ask. And then people are going to come at you. They just do from the woodworks. And this is why I don't like that in New York, you can claim your money and you have to be registered and they take a picture and all that crap. So this is why I wouldn't tell anybody right off the bat, guys. You wouldn't find out months later because I would have to start a company and have the company cash out the money and I got to invest. I got to do all the things first. Yeah. I thought your girl thought about it, but your girl still don't buy a lottery ticket. So it's not going to happen until I buy a lottery ticket.
I remember talking about this with a lawyer when I lived in Toronto, and I was like, and I think the jackpot on the Lotto Max had hit like 70 million or something, and I was like, wouldn't it be nice to win 70 million? He's, what would you do first? So I'm rattling off some of the things that I would do, and I was like, what would you do? He's call a lawyer, and I was like, seems like a very legal thing for a lawyer to say. And he was like, no, I'm dead serious. He's like, a lot of people don't think about this, but the first thing you should really do the minute you find out that you potentially won is call a lawyer, because you've opened yourself up to potentially a lot of lawsuits. You don't know what's in the woodworks. The minute you talk to a lawyer about it, now you know knowledge. You just said it. Knowledge is power. Now you know other things that you could potentially do with the money. Where I was like,
damn, Reddit, look what you started. We're talking about lottery winnings and we don't even play the lottery.
Somebody won 68 million in Toronto yesterday. Or
do you know how much the Powerball is up in the US right now? It's almost $1 billion. I'm
sending you some money.
It's $2 to play. You better send me listen, people be going in. I think one time recently, some colleagues from work won, and it was like a few of them, and they all put in like $20.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge return on your investment, let me tell you.
I'll send you some money. I'll play it with you. I'm serious. Yeah. You're laughing, and I'm like, go buy a ticket.
I guess I'm playing lottery now, guys. Okay.
Just today.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the lightning won't strike.
Yo, let me look up how much that lottery, because nobody won it on Monday or Wednesday. Let me check it out, because Min and I are going to be bajillionaires. Maybe this is how we get our money, Min. Powerball, it's called. 850 million Powerball jackpot. Oh, sorry, 960 million. Cash value, 441.4.
Listen, you're going to get hit with a lot of taxes. So I'm okay with sending you some money. And then once you get hit with the taxes and leaving you with more money to get hit with more taxes, because once I leave the country with it, ain't nobody coming after me up in Canada until I start investing that money. It's different up here, right? For lotto winnings, like you guys pay up front before you even get the money. Y'all,
there's a lot of trust. There's a lot of trust from Min. I just told y'all you wouldn't know if I won. How you know I'm gonna tell you, man? Maybe I'm a really sleazy person. I'll be like, I'm gonna keep that for myself.
Maybe you are.
I would never do that. I can never live with myself.
I know you too well. I think at this point, in the sense that like it would eat up at you
so much, it would not be worth the money.
Face, right?
It would
So
just
I'm
like, what kind
okay.
of life is that, y'all? No, I can't. You're
Exactly.
right. I'm a
So I'm
sucker.
okay with this. I'm okay. I will send you some money. Let's play and see where it goes. And if you win, I will leave you one. You pay the taxes right away, and then I'll leave you with extra money because you're gonna get hit again at the end of the year. Let's be real.
Unless I do the cash out. If I win 960 million, my cash out value is 441.4 million. So once you cash out, that's with the taxes and stuff already taken out. So that's my money, period.
Okay, perfect. Then we split that money. I take mine. You take yours. And
You
if
gonna
it's
get your
still,
220 million? Whoa, that's
yeah,
a
I'm
bit.
coming
I
back
don't
up to Canada
know.
because
Oh, so you're
it's different up here. We don't get taxed at the time of cashing out. We get taxed with the money that's made off of the money that's invested. So
yeah, but
it's
if I
pretty
give
clear.
you $220 million, they're gonna be like, what's that? You know what we should do, man? Now the IRS is gonna find me. We should open up a Swiss bank account or something, or like in the Grand Cayman, and then you can go access your money. So they don't know.
I'll set us up with a really good financial planner to deal with all of it for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Anyways,
call you.
stay
I have
tuned.
a
We'll be
financial
winning
planner.
the lottery this weekend.
All right. Well, it's in 33 hours. The next drawing is tomorrow. All right. So here's my second Am I the A-hole? This is where everyone's, yeah, I love this one. I got so many thoughts on this one. It's a funny one. Am I the a-hole for being mad my boyfriend won't make noodles the way I like? Hold up. Wait a minute. Let's talk about this. Okay, this sounds dumb, but hear me out. Anytime somebody says something like that, I'm like, it is going to be dumb. I have always been a picky eater, especially when it comes to tomatoes. Ever since I was a kid, my dad would make my spaghetti different from the rest of the house. I like having an essence of the sauce flavor on the noodles, but not the overpowering flavor having noodles bathe in sauce creates. So here's where it gets a bit odd. My dad would separate my spaghetti from the families after putting the sauce on, and then would rinse the sauce off with the sink and strainer. I love noodles like this, as it is a nice subtle tomato vibe given to the mild spaghetti.
Okay, hold on.
Allegedly, her
I
dad.
need a visual here. Hold on. Her
Yeah.
dad makes her a bowl. He puts
No,
in
her dad
sauce.
makes pasta for everybody, puts the sauce and mixes it up, takes out her portion, then puts it in a
water.
strainer and rinses it out. So the tomato
and then
sauce
gives
comes
it
out.
back to her so that it's just.
And then, but it has the essence of tomato sauce flavor.
Okay,
it has
go
the.
on. You know what it has the essence of?
You're a mom, but you're a mom. I'm a mom. We know what it means here. My boyfriend, he's 26, by the way, has known about this since we first started dating. He always told me my food habits were cute, which means there's more than one habit, girl. Okay. That's side note. We've been dating for almost 3 years now and moved in together at the beginning of the pandemic so we could be in lockdown together. Ever since we moved in together, he insisted on taking charge of cooking and all cooking related tasks, including dishes, grocery shopping, etc. And he assigned me the role of cleaning the bulk of the apartment. We split other tasks pretty much 50-50. Everything was perfect, and he always seemed to be making the noodles the way I liked them when we had them. This was until last week when we last had spaghetti. We ate and everything was good, but afterwards he started teasing me, saying things like, you really like your pasta with an essence of tomato, or how was your tomato essence, babe? Ew, that makes me think he did something sleazy. Anyway, always using finger quotes around the word essence. After a few comments, I felt something was off and asked him if he had done anything differently with tonight's noodles than he usually does, and he started laughing. When he finally stopped laughing, he told me the whole truth while smirking. He said, I didn't do anything different than I usually do. I have never been making it the way you have requested. Apparently, the entire time we've been living together, he's just been skipping the pasta sauce on my noodles entirely. He claimed that if I didn't notice for this long, then it shouldn't matter that he's making dinner in a way that's easier for him. I disagree entirely. Girl, I told you it was a funny one. I disagree entirely. I know. I love it. You can laugh. You're laughing so hard right now. I know. We are on mute though, so I can't hear it. That's okay. I think the lying was a huge breach of trust, and so was a refusal to make dinner how I wanted.
I'm actually over here in tears. Okay, I'm ready.
I told you it was a funny one. I have admittedly been acting passive aggressive to him since, but he thinks he did nothing wrong, that I'm overreacting and I need to let it go. Am I the a-hole? So many thoughts.
So funny. Okay, First of all, she has she likes an essence of tomato sauce. I need to first know what he's doing to create that essence.
The essence is her dad mixes the entire pot of pasta.
I get it. Hold on. But all I picture is this man in the kitchen with a pasta bowl wafting in the...
Oh, I see. The essence.
I need to know how he's making that essence happen now. Oh, girl, I'm totally going to ruin my makeup. This is so funny. I can't.
I'm sorry. I told you it was a funny one.
Okay, first of all, everybody I shouldn't say everybody. I have a few food neuroses is the best way. Mostly because I'm allergic to a couple of things. But before before I noticed my mushroom allergy, I hate mushrooms. Like so much. Like they freak me out. I don't like them. I get upset with them on my plate that I used to tell restaurants that I was allergic to mushrooms. So that my brother and my sister make fun of me because they love it. And like my mom will make there's tom yum has a lot of mushrooms in it and it's a Thai like sweet and sour soup.
Love it.
And she will make mine specifically without mushrooms because she knows how much I disdain mushrooms.
Oh, so you get this story.
So, well, I do, but if a mushroom happens to be in my bowl, I'm not gonna completely freak out. I'll take it out and I'll shove it onto like my sister's plate or something. I legit, girl, the reason I'm laughing is because I picture a man holding the bowl and like wafting the sauce into her plate.
The steam from the tomato sauce.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Okay, so it is one thing if you're allergic. You sound 6. You don't like it?
Well, her dad clearly fostered this, but here's what I think. I think your dad did it one time, honey, rinsed off the pasta sauce. And I was like, here you go. And then you ate it. And then ever since then, he probably made it plain because your boyfriend's been doing it for months and months and you did not notice that you thought it had the essence of tomato and it didn't, which means you've been eating plain ass pasta, girl. What a waste of pasta sauce if your dad really did do it that way. Number 1. 2.
Also, pasta sauce, the noodles are just an avenue.
No parent is going to keep doing it unless you're watching. Your dad's been serving you plain pasta, girl. Let's be real. That's number 2. And number 3, you suck and your boyfriend suck. You suck for thinking that he thinks that's cute and somebody else is going to perpetuate this bullshit, childish behavior. Grow up and just say you like your noodles plain. Or do it yourself if you are so weird. But of course he wanted to do it, but he's an asshole for doing it and making fun of you. Like it's one thing to do it and just like be like, oh, but you're thinking it's like a breach of trust and all that. He lied about it and he's making fun of you. He's like smirking at you and like, oh, essence this. He must make fun of you with his friends. Let's be real. 1, break up with him. 2, stop saying you need the tomato sauce to be washed down the drain. Stop buying the tomato sauce because girl, you're wasting money. You're wasting food. And just eat your plain pasta and be happy and just say you like it plain. It's okay. I actually have a friend it's funny you say that you used to say you're allergic to mushrooms. She really hates onions and she really hates tomatoes. And at some point we were just like, just say you're allergic so the restaurants don't screw it up.
Yeah.
And so she started to do that. But what ended up happening, and I hope she probably will listen, whatever. As the years have gone by, now it's become like a thing where it's like, I need it off my plate. It's been reinforced so much because she's anti it. And I know that when you tell yourself you hate something so much and you keep saying it, it actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
Not that this is related. It's not food related, but I used to hate running because I wasn't good at it and I'm not a runner. And then once I stopped saying I hate running and I'm just like, oh, I'm running, it stopped making me dread and it stopped making me not want to run. And I just did it. I ran a marathon, y'all. Nice. I said, I won't do it again, but I noticed now that I'm working out again at the gym, when they have running, I'm like, and I started to realize that I'm training myself with that behavior again. And I had to mentally stop and be like, no, that's just part of it. Moving on to the rest of it. And it took that factor out of it where because it was starting to get worse and worse where I started to dread it. And I would like sometimes not want to go to class because of it. Yeah. And you know what? You're creating your own crazy. You're creating your own crazy people. Anyway, so there's some edits on this one. The first edit, my boyfriend found the post and is not happy. I'm debating pouring the sauce directly down the drain to spite him. Bitch, you wasting food, okay? You wasting. Stop it. What?
Just because a mushroom falls on my plate or in my pasta sauce, I may not like it. It's like now it becomes a bigger issue because now I'm allergic, but before I used to be like, oh crap, I just ate a mushroom. That was disgusting. I wouldn't throw a tantrum about it.
You know what's funny about mushrooms? You know that movie Super Mario Brothers came out?
Oh, I haven't
And
seen it yet, but yes.
it was my son's first movie.
Oh,
And he loved it. And we watched it again recently because it's on whatever, Paramount or something, Paramount Plus. And I was like, Axel, mushrooms made Mario big and strong. Do you love mushrooms? And he's, yeah, I do. And I was like, let's eat some. And so now every time he eats mushrooms or sees it, because it's on something, he'll be like, I'm strong, mommy. And he'll show me his muscle. Yeah, you are.
cute.
And then I was like, I should show you Popeye because get your butt to eat some spinach. Listen, I don't care. I'll take it. But anyway, the edit number 2 is y'all might be happy to hear we broke up. We had a huge blow up fight since he found the post, which led me to breaking up with him. He did not like being called a predator. What? How are you a predator? I don't know. Maybe I didn't read the comments. And I started to think y'all had a point about that. So I ended up breaking up with him. He attempted to plead with me a bit. My parents pay our rent, so he can't afford the place without me, but I wouldn't budge. So wait a minute. So your parents pay the rent. So that's the reason he wants to pay for the groceries and make the food. That's number 1. Anyway, now some things I found out in the argument. First, he is not a pharmacist like he always told me. He just works at CVS. Sorry. Nothing's wrong with working at CVS. Nothing's wrong with working. That just came out of nowhere. Sorry. The edits are the best, though. The edits are the best. Okay. Secondly, he has actually cheated on me multiple times with other girls that go to my college. And lastly, and worst of all, he has never actually been allergic to dogs. He just doesn't like them. Girl, oh my God, I can't with this.
Okay, hold on. First of all, I need to know how he convinced her that he was a pharmacist. And now she's finding out he just works at CVS.
So basically, he lied to her, which caused her distrust. And now, so she's a college girl, right? So obviously, she's still childish.
So I'm guessing he's older.
Maybe, or maybe he doesn't go to college and he's just whatever he lied about. Why would you lie about all these things?
To become a pharmacist? Like you have just as much schooling as you do to become a pharmacist as you do to become a doctor.
No.
Okay, there's still 4 years of
there's still stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, if I was dating somebody from CVS and he's a pharmacist, I would have already hit up that CVS and be like, hey, boo, come on, girl. That's number 1. Number 2, you're a college student. He's living with you. Pharmacists in America make $80,000, $100,000 almost sometimes, depending. He's not going to need your apartment rent free. And if he gets it, great.
Question that.
What alarms me about this entire post, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is years, right? She said they were together for years. Yeah, we've been dating for almost 3 years now. How do you not know that he's not a pharmacist at his place of work? I would have already popped into that CVS to get tampons, honey. Is he behind the counter or in front, or is he walking around the store?
Maybe she didn't know if he works like shift work and he's just stocking shelves. I don't know.
But this one lie opened up a can of worms, so she realized he was cheating on her and all the things. What were you so complacent about with him? You definitely ignored the signs and now your eyes are open. That's why he was fighting hard, but he ruined it for himself, okay? You should have just made her noodles the way you want. You could have just kept that to your grave, okay? You should have just not admitted it. Why did you need to make fun of her, you weirdo?
Yeah, he shouldn't have made fun of her, but still a really funny story.
This is when Am I the A-hole does good for people, because she realized that, look at it. It just changed her whole life by posting that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, so funny. Great.
These are people's lives. That's the crazy part to me. I have one more if you want to hear it.
I know. They'll die. Yeah, okay, let's one more. We haven't had
one more. We'll do a quick. Am I the a-hole? 28 male, dating his girlfriend for 27, so they're older, 20s, for 5 years. We met in college where she was an international student. She started working after graduating. I'm currently doing my master's. Her company was sponsoring her visa until they got bought out, and then she got laid off. So she had a limited time to find a new employer to sponsor her to stay in the country. It really stressed her out. She was applying to jobs every day and did a lot of interviews, but unfortunately wasn't able to get an offer. She wanted to stay since she loves the place, and I would still be here in the country. She obviously loves him. While I was out with a buddy, he suggested that I sponsor her visa since we've been in a relationship for quite some time. I love her and I didn't want to see her so stressed out. So I told her about the idea, and she was hesitant at first. She said she didn't want me to think that she was with me so I can be her way to permanent residence or citizenship to the country. And I wanted her to stay, and I wanted to do it. Consultant and immigration consultant decided to do the paperwork on our own. She was the one who mostly looked into the stuff we needed to prepare. She applied for jobs, but not urgently like she used to. And it took a while since we never really had anything joint. We lived together and just split the bills on our own. She had enough saved up to be okay for a while. I had to fill out some paperwork to be her sponsor, and I felt uneasy about it. I did want her to stay, but it felt like it was too much. Eventually, she was done with her part, and all that was left was mine. And I finally told her I didn't want to go through with it. She was very upset and asked why. And I told her that I suggested the idea because I didn't want to see her stressed out all the time. And I eventually realized that I shouldn't have to be responsible for her. We had a long talk where I told her that I still want to be in a relationship with her, but I just don't want to be forced to be responsible for her. Wow. Okay. She said she felt very hurt by what I said. Things changed and she didn't really talk to me after. She kept applying for jobs and attending interviews, but eventually her visa expired. Before she left, I told her I loved her and I would really want her to come back. However, she told me that she sees me differently after the things that I told her. It has been a few weeks since she left and I miss her cooking, her presence, and being able to spend time with her. I still want a future with her. However, our close friends have been telling me that I was an a-hole. I disagree and I think they are biased. So I'm here on Reddit asking, am I the a-hole? So many things to unpack here.
I don't think he is. Coming from somebody who sponsored somebody else to stay in the no.
It is a huge responsibility.
It is. There's a lot that's put on you, especially and up to basically you're tied into that. I don't know how it works down in the States, but you're tied into that person until they
the responsibilities on his edit, the responsibility said I would have to be financially responsible for 3 years. If she gets any government assistance or social welfare, I would have to pay it back. I also can't sponsor anyone else until the 3 years have passed. That's what he had said.
There's also a lot of, not legalities, but they put you through a really rigorous process.
Yeah.
To make sure that it's a legitimate
he said they've been living together. They've been together for 5 years. They've been living together, but they don't have a joint account.
So I never went through. When I did it, it was with the father of my kids. We didn't have to go through 98% of the stuff. Like us getting pulled into separate rooms, them asking what my skincare routine was like, because we had a child, and that kind of cut through the red tape. But I've heard horror stories. I've basically, and if there's any indication, I'm just gonna say no, you weren't, and it's okay.
So here's why I think he was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One, they've been together for 5 years. If you're not serious about someone after 5 years, what's up? But the thing that alarms me is that after 5 years, you wanted her to stay, so you thought about sponsoring her. You went to an immigration person to get the information. This immigration person told you what all of this meant, and you still told her yes. You're the one who approached her and said, I want to do it. After the information, after you did that, you still wanted to go ahead and do it. If you knew you were uneasy, you went ahead and let her fill out all that information. And then you said, nah, hold up, wait a minute. And then you said you don't want to be responsible for her after 5 years of being together. You're assuming all these things would happen socially, like welfare and all that stuff. But if she's sponsored and she actually gets it, she could probably get a job easily versus being sponsored in the country. I don't know what country this is, actually. I didn't look. But the thing is, he almost gaslighted her. He has a right to say no, but he also knew what that meant when you said you were going to sponsor the person you loved after 5 years of being together. But what's alarming is after 5 years of being together, you don't have anything tied in your names because you are still separate and single. So that makes sense. But that is why you had some red tape, because you had to now put stuff in your name together jointly just to prove that you're together. I think the way he told it to her, that he didn't want to be responsible for her, I could see why she was hurt. Like, she's not looking for a handout, obviously. She obviously worked and she's educated and all that stuff. And what really bugs me is that the first thing he said he missed about her was her cooking, which I know he actually edited and said, I listed the things I missed about her in no particular order. But when you put that as the first thing, that means that it was the first thing. You miss being taken care of. You miss the companionship, the being in a relationship with someone you loved and trusted. Honey, you really could have had that conversation with her before she filled out all the paperwork and said you weren't easy. You were not open in your communication. You were the one who approached her about it. You gave her false hope. She was resigned to be going back into her country, and you could easily have figured that out. I also have issue with this because this is a very privileged person that has no idea about immigration, period. Has no idea about what it means. Like, oh, she can just come back. No, loser. She can't just come back. It doesn't work that way in most countries. It's not like you're in Europe and you could just go from one border to the other and blah, 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 blah. It's not like that for most countries. She's gone and you're okay with that. She has to be okay with that.
Yeah.
But the way that you didn't vouch for her after 5 years of her life, that is hurtful. And she's not wrong. She didn't ask you for the handout. She didn't ask you to commit or do something you didn't want to do. And I actually have a friend who was in a sort of similar situation. They were together for years. She wanted to leave her job but she wouldn't be sponsored. So she made it a point to, before she left that job, she had to find another job, and it took her forever and a day. And he refused to ask her to marry him or do it, even though he wanted to propose to her like a year before. And in his mind, he's, oh, I'm letting her work her stuff out. But there was no urgency. It would have made her life easier. He saw her stressed out. He saw how horrible it was, and he didn't care. But he still didn't offer her false hope or anything. And he did propose to her after she got another job, and they are married now and they are happy, and it's not an issue. It's a non-issue. She still has to be sponsored, but she's married now, and it'll be a little different if they choose to stay in the US versus where she's from. But my whole point is he didn't give her false hope. It wasn't a conversation. He didn't let her fill out the paperwork and then be like, oops, wait a minute, let me change my mind. We've been together for 5 years. And because I think he's been together with his now wife. He was with her for 4 years at that point. So the gaslighting is what gets me here. Was why I say he's the a-hole. Not the fact that he didn't want to do it, but he led her on and he wasted her time.
I get it. I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that maybe the longer because sometimes you need to sit in your decisions before you finalize your decisions. And I don't think he did that.
But he didn't have to say it all at once.
No, he didn't. And he should have let her, especially if.
And she was filling it out. He could have been like, I know we're doing this. I have some concerns.
Reservations. Yeah.
It's called communication. If she got upset, see how she reacts then. Don't wait till she was finished and done and waiting for you to do it and be like, no, let me pull the rug out from under you. It's just very, that's what I'm saying. It felt like very gaslighting. Anyway.
I'll agree.
That's it for Am I the A-hole guy?
The funny one though. Let's just say that.
I know. I hope you like this. I really love talking about some of these stories and giving my opinions. If you guys have a story and you want to hit us up, you can email us wokeprettypodcast@gmail.com. You can obviously hit us up on any of our socials or make a comment on our podcast. I hope you listened to the full episode, and we really loved having you here, and we want to hear your thoughts. So that's it for today's episode.
All right.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Oh, and make sure you share our episode, guys. We love the sharing. Sharing is caring.
Agreed.
All right. See you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Remember, you're the heartbeat of our podcast. Your support, your comments, and your enthusiasm keeps us fired up and ready to bring you more pop culture goodness each week. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a moment of action.
Connect with us on social media at Woke and Pretty Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
We're always thrilled to chat with fellow pop culture enthusiasts.
Until next time, keep riding those pop culture waves,
stay in the know with current events, and most importantly, keep embracing your woke and pretty self. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride, and remember, the conversation doesn't stop here. So, until we meet again, keep spreading the woke and pretty vibes.